felt awesomely wonderful.
Then someone gave Tom a Bible.
A small King James Bible, and I began to read that, and I could not put it down. Did not understand a single word of it, but it just enthused me. About 3 days later, I read about the woman with the issue of blood who just touched the hem of Jesus' garment and was instantly made whole. And upon reading that, I had a revelation that this was the same Jesus that had touched me, that touched her. I just fell to the ground and began to worship. And I can honestly say I've been worshiping ever since. I'm just absolutely awestruck by the power of God.
Come, Jesus, come like the wind. Fill up this place, we welcome you in. Come, Jesus, come like the rain. Open the sky, show us your face. Oh, Lord, we wait.
The power of God. That power will indeed completely change your life. It'll give you hope and peace and purpose. Why does God offer to do that? Because He loves you more than you can begin to imagine. We'd love to tell you more. Visit our website, please. It's findpeacewithgod.net. That's findpeacewithgod.net.
Find peace with God. Tom found that. And he also found something else, something that had been all around him for years. He'll tell you what that was in just a minute.
You're listening to GPS, God, People, Stories, a podcast production of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association.
Among the Puritans which came to America between 1620 and 1640, 1/5 of them were of Scottish Presbyterian persuasion.
Billy Graham.
What was the faith that these rugged Scots with a burr in their accent gave to America? Out of the rubble of a ritual which had accumulated upon the cold altars of a frigid church, these men revived 3 great eternal truths: the sovereignty of God, the sinfulness of man, and the saving grace of Christ. In these 3 points of divine revelation, they were all agreed. To them, Christianity was not cold, formal intellectualism, but a warm, dynamic life to be lived. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesus Christ left heaven 2,000 years ago and came to this earth and died on a cross to save us from sin. The only way to heaven is by the cross of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ said, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me." At this moment, you can come to know Christ. You don't have to come down one of those beautiful aisles here in Scotland and say yes to Christ. You can say yes to Him now and know the peace and the joy and the rest that only Christ can give to the human soul.
And now back to the hosts of GPS, Phil Fleischman and Jim Kirkland.
Chaplains from the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team were recently deployed to 2 disasters that you've likely heard of by now. Chaplains were sent to Oakland, California, following the deadly warehouse fire there, and they went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, in response to the massive wildfires there. Would you please pray for these chaplains and for the people they're ministering to?
And you can learn more about both of those rapid response team deployments at billygrahamradio.org. Just click on What We Do at the top of the page.
The Rapid Response Team chaplains share the love of Jesus Christ with people in crisis. Some of those people are completely unaware of Jesus Christ, and of Christians even, until they meet the chaplains. Well, our guest on this episode of GPS was pretty much unaware of Christians until he gave his own heart to Jesus.
Over the next few weeks, I discovered that the world was full of people called Christians. I hadn't even known there was such a thing. And so that was another revelation to me, that so many people were Christians and born-again Christians. And I found myself in this community that I didn't know existed before. So that was a long time ago. That was 41 years ago.
God's done a lot of work in Tom's life over that time. He went from essentially not knowing about Jesus when he was 23 to helping Will Graham tell thousands of other people about Jesus in his 60s. We're grateful for Tom's work with Will and for his willingness to share his story here on GPS.
We also want to thank Phil Wickham for the use of some of his music in this episode, and we want to thank you for listening. This is GPS, God, People, Stories. I'm Phil Fleischman.
And I'm Jim Kirkland. GPS is an outreach of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Always good news.
Praise God.